I'm a horror fan, so anytime a new movie comes out, I'm very, very excited. And the fact that this like lent into, like that sort of, I guess we'll say hicksploitation of the 70s. But I like that it was also its own, very much its own thing. I was like, I obviously wanted Macy to survive, but then I felt for Dolly at the same time. It was like such a great dynamic. And I like, and obviously, because I know that this came from Baby Girl, which I will put my hand up, I haven't seen. But like, I guess, like, was there anything from that short that I guess that you consciously abandoned because it no longer served like the bigger vision of Dolly? And then was there anything that you were like non-negotiable? This is like continuing on.
Well, first of all, thank you for the kind words. Even as Dolly's been labeled a slasher, we'll take it because I think something you said is really wonderful to see that people, might be drawn to it because of that label, right? Because it's been put into that category, but then they find that they have a complicated relationship to the characters in it, right? And that to me is just what I would try to do writ large with any story. At the same time, the Baby Girl short is a actually a proof of concept that we made to try to raise the money. And if people go and watch it because it's out there forever and ever, I think they'll see we'd already written the movie in 2021. We were trying to find the resources to make it, and we just picked all these disparate or all these different elements of the movie to show, right? Like character dynamics, protagonist, antagonist, the weirdness. The short is weird and creepy, above all else. So I actually think it's both a good thing that exists out there forever and ever, but Dolly as a movie like has its own identity that comes from the fact that it's no longer just four of you in the woods. There's a lot of people applying their craft and making it better than, what you're just making with your friends south of Nashville, in one day. But yeah, you have to start somewhere. And I've found in my career and life that if you can show people, they can imagine it
Mhm.
better, and then it helps you figure out a path forward.
Also, one of the things that you like to show, and I appreciate this, is like you like the practicality of the gore was like something that I loved, and obviously, without spoiling anything, a nice, we'll just say jaw dropping moment in there. And I wanted to ask, I guess, like when when you're writing like a death scene or a gore moment, I guess is it one of those things where it's you write it down and you like is it easy to like construct, I guess, on the page like a death scene, or does it is it one of those things that I guess becomes it grabs its personality as you're filming it, if that makes any
Sure.
sense?
Sure. Well, I think that like the violence and the brutality in our film is earned relative to the two positions of our characters, right? Like
Yeah.
you have force and opposing force, and they're never going to be on the same page. And their responses to it are one is usually, well, by and large, like just someone trying to figure out how to navigate a situation, and the other comes from learned behavior and the environment and the things that they were subject to, which is of course how trauma happens. Hurt people. And you get a taste of this as the movie goes on as to why Dolly is the way they are and why they're behaving the way they are. At the same time, you can have a crazy idea, and again, I only know this relative to a low budget independent filmmaking, is to go, well, you have the idea, you really need to start working with your collaborators to see what's possible, right? Like not everything is possible. Well, I mean, if you have the money and time, it probably is. But really here there's an element of like, well, what can we do, right? Like, but the intentionality remains. Hey, this needs to happen this way because that's how this character would behave. Rod, you had this idea. We can't achieve that. Here's an idea, and that comes from your collaborators being better at what you do than you are. I'm not a special effects artist. I'm, a leader, right? The person willing us into battle. But I do rely on my entire team to tell me what's possible and what we can do within our resources and time.
It's like it looked incredible. And
Thank you.
I was like, I loved that it continued on more than just like the one. I was like, oh my God. I was like, the determination was great. And like with this, like it feels like, it's very grimy in a very like intentional way, I guess. Like, was that? was that aesthetic choice about texture, tone, or psychology, or something else entirely?
I mean, it, I can no longer remember where we started, right? Because it's now been several years of like, and now I know what we've done. Like, so, like, I almost can't even detach myself from where we are now. I
Mm,
do think at the same time, the original script, which was called Baby Girl, was probably a little bleaker and maybe even a little more referential to some other films, like some other films in the horror genre. But those things aren't there anymore because the identity of the film is what the film tells you it is as you're making it. And I can only think about it now based on what I know. Like I can't separate myself from what it was. My partner, my producing partner, we run the studio Witchcraft that made the movie. He originally didn't love the movie because I think on the page it felt a little too like familiar, right? Like and I say familiar like as a I have a lot of collaborators and friends that are like deep horror genre lovers as well. And again, you can only let them see so much of what's in your brain before you start making it. And at first Noah was like, man, this feels like we're doing this, sure, but like how do we differentiate it? And I was like, just wait, right? Like, but that's also my job as a director is to go believe in me, follow me, and I will lead you there. And I had a lot of people who thankfully believed in me and like followed me as we got to where we are now. But yeah, I don't know, like that texture just kind of comes alive, right?
yeah.
It comes alive. I don't think I can't even imagine what the film was anymore the first time I thought about it. Does that make sense?
Yes, no, yeah,
I
absolutely.
only see what it is now. I know it so intimately now. I
Mm,
cannot not. It's like a kid, right? You have it for someone who's a parent. Like when my first daughter was born, I can't even imagine the ideas that I had about what she would be once there's a physical thing in front of me.
yeah,
That's gone, right? And I think this is the same.
yeah. I would love, and it's like if it's not something that you can like get into, but I was like, I would just really love to know the, I guess like the lore behind the like, I guess like the red vortex stuff like that. Or that kind of when that happening, I was like, is this, yeah, that really fascinated me, and it sort of made me think of like all these, different sort of possibilities. But yeah, is there anything behind that at all? I was like, when I rewatch it, am I looking for something specific, or is that like, yeah, I just would love to know
Yeah,
about
so without like there's like maybe two or three moments you're talking about, right?
yeah.
Like I in this I won't spoil it, but I will say that like that there's an Alice in Wonderland fable-like quality to our protagonist's experience.
Yeah,
Like ultimately and where those things occur, right? Like she's entering, she's going through the looking glass, right? Like
yeah,
going down the rabbit hole.
yeah.
I think it happens three times.
Mm,
Um, and those are there for specific reasons. It's a representation of a feeling, right?
yeah,
And what like the layers, not in the Inception style like layers, but kind of,
yeah,
like we're going deeper. We're like, and then what do you do when you're all the way, through the looking glass and you're looking at the white rabbit and you're in front of the Queen of Hearts, So here we are.
okay, no, I'm glad that I was like, because when it happened, I was like that. I was sort of having that kind of same.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
was
mean,
like,
again, everything is like intentional, right?
yeah,
There's a lot of breadcrumbs in the film, and specifically in one section of the film that hints at some other things. It's all there.
mm,
Like, and even the end of the film, after the in the credits and after there's things, everything is there economically because it means something.
yeah. No, I was immediately drawn to this just looking at the imagery of it, and then I watched it and was like, I love that this is so much more. And then I was like, the fact that this is going into cinemas is incredible because I was like, this is like this is like what you want for like communal horror. You just want people to watch this and just be completely like let it wash over them. I am very much looking forward to seeing this again. I'm going to look a little bit closely maybe now. But no, I had so much fun with this. I love that it was more than just like the is basically yeah, what you sort of like get on the tin. You're like, there's so much more inside. And like yeah, as I said, like you're honoring horror, but then you're making it its own thing, and the characters are so complex, and it's just like yeah, it's just so much more than I think a lot of people are going to expect. So thank you so much.
That's very kind. I appreciate those kind words, and yeah, thank man. That's I feel seen. Thank you.
No worries.